going to introduce our speaker for the night.
Yeah, kind of weird. I'm gonna start blushing. No, I'm kidding. Hi everybody, my name's Brandon. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is December the 10th of 2023, and I don't really have a home group. I'm kind of a drifter, so just haven't picked one out yet. So Bob, Bob's been a good friend of mine since I first started getting serious about my recovery, and or trying to, anyways. And you know, I don't call Bob all the time with all of my problems and stuff, because Bob doesn't co-sign my stuff, so I decide not to call him. So, because Bob's one of those friends. He's just he's honest even when it hurts, you know. And I'm honored to be up here tonight and be able to call Bob my brother and a friend of mine. You know, it's just it's pretty wild how things change over time. And I'm grateful to be your friend and to go along this journey, you know, and have somebody to point me in the right direction when I needed it. Yeah, you've helped out more people than you'll probably ever know, and I thank you for that, Bob. Thank you. That's all I got. Bob.
Well, I'm Bob, an alcoholic. I forgot I had to do sobriety date and all that stuff. It's February 16th, 22. And Pickers and Grin, I've never actually signed a paper for a home group, but it's Pickers and Grinners and Monday Night Big Book Study right here. Those are the two I don't miss every week. The three people I picked tonight, as I've been thinking about that, when they told me I had to pick the people to read and do the intro, caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, who? I'll start off with Brandon here. When I came back 3 years ago, I was twisted up. I was a mess. Met him over standing by the door. One of the first people to take me around and introduce me to all these people I didn't know, because I hadn't been around in a while. It's like, this little shit, he's constantly by my side, introducing me to everybody, wants me to talk. He never shuts up. And it had a great impact on me when I first came around. Then Skip, he had to put up with all my shit when I first came around. When I came back in, he'll tell you I was a mess. We got together every week going over a bunch of different stuff. And what I was most impressed with is, it's like, man, I can't be your sponsor. I can't tell you any of this shit. You know more than this than I'll ever know. I'm like, and you've been married for like 27 years. I don't know what to tell you about marriage or anything. Don't worry about telling me anything about marriage. When I come to you with bullshit, point me in this frickin' book, because I know there's an answer in here. You know, so that was a big deal too. Just met Sean. Well, we met over the weekend, briefly. New into the program at one of the recovery communities around here. First outside meeting. You know, we were sitting over at the table talking. I'm like, damn, a newcomer. If that ain't the most important person in the room, I don't know what is. You know, I just get to get up here and tell a little bit of story that since I've been able to stay around a little while. People coming in the door, I'm glad you made it. All right. I don't like getting into telling long war stories, so I'm going to glaze over youth and whatnot real quick. 12 years of school, I went to 14 schools. First run-in with the law, I think, was 4 or 5 years old, stealing stuff at the store. First grade, kind of, I don't know, I think I take a little weird sense of pride. I got expelled from school in the first grade. I don't know how people do that, but I got expelled. I could not go back to that one. Mom, single mom, alcoholic, abusive, came through all that garbage. I've got one sibling. I got a sister, 6.5 years younger than me, so her and I are just in two different age groups, and I was running a lot wilder. Trying to think what else. First drink and first drug. First drink I'm still bummed about. They say the first time you drink's the most euphoric. I don't remember. Mom tells the story and laughs about it with family because I was a toddler running around in diapers and got a hold of her vodka and started drinking it up. She says how everybody just laughed and I passed out finally. I'm like, that sucks. First time smoking pot. Pot was the first drug I got into. I was in school, went out and hanging out with the older kids. The older kids were in 5th grade. I was in 3rd. And then by the time I hit junior high, it was regular for me to either get drunk or get high. All throughout my using career, alcohol has always been my main. It didn't matter. When I went to bed at night, whatever I was drinking was sitting next to me so I could wake up in the morning. I used to like to tell the story that, I lay down in bed at night, put my drink on the nightstand. That sounds pretty. I pass out on the floor at night, leave my beer bottle next to me. That's more realistic. Schools, I'm trying to get through. So, in and out of trouble with the law from 10 years on. Got put in residential placement as a teenager and aged out of that. And once I aged out of that, then life got fun. I was out ripping and running. Ended up being able to rebuild a little bit of relationship with Mom because I wasn't living anywhere now, and I'm getting high and I'm getting drunk, and so is she. So we partied together a lot. Still like the stories. I'm sitting in the house one day and I'm getting some stuff ready for distribution. Boom, boom, boom. Mom likes to play the game and knock hard on the door. Yeah, who is it, Mom? Oh, yeah, come on in. I'm going to pull my tray back out and finish doing my business. That's just the way we were rolling then. By the time I hit 21, it was just nuts. I was all over the country. In all honesty, from like 18 to 24 is just a complete blur for me. I was married and divorced once. I moved from Illinois to Florida, back to Illinois, then to Indiana, back to Illinois, to Kentucky, that's it. I was doing what I knew to do, just run. Whenever shit got bad, run, go somewhere else. Actually went to Florida to get away from cocaine. Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. It's the only time I actually found cocaine on the ground. And that was a good time. That was a good night. Trying to piece together and get through this part quick, all this shit quick. Started getting in trouble with the law more and more and more. I had my youth probation. Oh yeah, I was in and out of the Navy for a minute too. I was in there a whole 8 months. I went in there. I have all these great ideas. They didn't want to listen to me, so it didn't work out. That, and they told me I could drink at the whatever the cafeteria thing is anytime I wanted. So get up, I'd go to class in the morning. At lunchtime, go straight over, have a few beers, get done go back to class, finish the afternoon, go back and stay there most of the rest of the night. It's like, okay, worked for me. Didn't work out real good for them. They don't know what they lost. All over the place, Illinois. Things started getting real bad by the end. I was chasing around. There was quite a while there. I was in Illinois. I was chasing after a patch. I wanted a patch on my back. Thank God I was just hanging around. I would was getting introduced to all the right people, but I ended up getting busted for burglaries. I was a crook. I always laugh. I want to say I was a thief, and I was a good thief, but I wasn't very good. I got caught 5 times. Thank God I kept getting caught, because as I started getting close to where I was starting to do some jobs with these guys, I'd end up getting busted and go back, sit back in jail. And most of y'all know, somebody gets busted, goes to jail, you don't talk to them when they get out, because they turned. So, didn't realize how good it worked out for me. At the age of 24, I was on probation for two felonies, picked up 2 more felonies, got out on bond, and this was between that period, at that second period, when I picked up my second 2 felonies, I was sitting in jail, and it's the first time I was exposed to this book. I'm sitting in jail, I'll read any damn thing. I read this thing cover to cover, and I still laugh, because my response was, as soon as I finished reading it, somebody needs to give this to Barb so she can read it and understand who the hell I am and leave me the fuck alone. You know, I knew I was a drunk. I didn't care. You know, this was the life I lived. I'm trying to get, you know, I'm running this way. I don't want to live a legal life. I'm all in. You know, she needed to read and understand that I ain't trying to give nothing up. Ended up getting out of jail, getting bonded out after a couple of months, and something in that book clicked. One line in there. If you don't think you're alcoholic, go do some controlled drinking. It's the only line I remembered in the book. I'm gonna drink 1 night a week. Well, no, I'm gonna party 1 night a week. You know, all bet 1 night a week. All bets are off. I'm gonna do whatever the heck I want. 5 weeks later, woke up with another felony while I was sitting in jail. Still I don't remember breaking into the place, but I was lit and woke up in the morning sitting in a jail cell again with another felony. Petitioned the courts, got drug treatment. This was in, oh man. Okay, now you can make fun of the old guy. That was in 1989. Petitioned the court for drug treatment so I didn't have to go to prison. That's the only reason I wanted drug treatment, is I did not want my lily white ass going to the penitentiary in Illinois. I ended up getting drug treatment, which I still look back. When I started this journey in AA, this whole God concept, no. I wanted nothing to do with God, nothing to do with church. Anybody talked about church or the Bible or God, I didn't want to talk to them. It's how vehemently I was against all this stuff. Now I can look back and say, well, yeah, that had to have been God, because the day before I went up for my sentencing, kid pled out, judge ended up changing the sentence, gave the first-time offender 16 years in prison, and I'm going up the next day to stand in front of this judge, same judge. I'm like, oh no. You know, it's a lot of fears there. He ended up sending me to drug treatment. Went up to Chicago. Drug treatment centers on the south side of Chicago. Great neighborhood. Gunshots all the time. It was great. We had a dog in the program. I was one of the guys that got to walk the dog, so I got to walk around the block and talk to the drug dealers. Several things happened there. One of them, counselor comes in one day and says, we're going to go over the first step of AA. What is it? And there's 48 men in our unit, all of us. I admitted I was powerless over alcohol, that my life became unmanageable. She says, no, that's not it. And somebody finally piped up and said, we. I didn't hear a damn thing the rest of that meeting, because we can't admit shit that I do. This is my freaking life. I do this. After the meeting, ran back to my room, got the book open, because I'm going to prove that woman wrong. And I wasn't that nice in my vocabulary. Sure enough, it says we. That I know was the first thing that really got me to thinking. Another thing happened is, just like every treatment center across the country, they're short-staffed, and they have days where they don't have enough staff to have their meetings, and you guys just go have your own groups. So me and 4 other guys go off into this little side room that we were hanging pretty tight in there, and talking about what we're going to do when we get out. 3 of them right off the jump. I'm getting high. You know, and then Eddie, he looks up and he's like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. He says, this is my 13th treatment center. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get out of here. And I know now that it was God that made me say what I said, because I sure as hell didn't. I got up, I'm like, you fuckers, stay the hell away from me. I don't want that shit. And I'm like, where did that come? Even after I said that, I'm like, where did that come from? Because that ain't me. Okay, so question for y'all. Take a drunken horse thief and sober him up. What do you have?
Sober horse thief.
Thank you. Well, I was a drunken asshole and they sobered me up, so I was still an asshole. I ended up getting kicked out for breaking some rules. They were right to do that. But those couple of things that happened while I was there, something started to click. And one other thing that happened while I was there is they had an outside guy that came into that center every week. We met down in the cafeteria, John S-M-I-T-H, because he was holding his anonymity. But he would come every week and talk about this program, about how meetings are and things, what happens in AA outside of the center. And that was a good thing, because I got kicked out on a Friday night. A white guy on the south side of Chicago getting kicked out of treatment, having to get down to the L to try and get back to Joliet. It was fun. Went to a meeting that night. That was the first outside AA meeting I went to of my own choice. Nobody told me I had to. I just went there. Ended up getting involved. Got there. Started getting real involved in AA. I went to a men's halfway house. I went to a intensive outpatient. And that was a 3 or 4 month program, something like that. I get to the end of it. I am successfully completing intensive outpatient. 4 hours a night, 4 nights a week, plus outside meetings. Checked every box, doing everything good. My counselor says you should really go over to the men's halfway house and live there. I'm like, no. I spent 11 months in jail, 3 months in treatment. I'm back home now, and she's a whole lot cuter than all them guys I was living with. I don't want to go and live with another house full of guys. I knew that I still had a court date pending because I got kicked out of treatments. I'm like, fine, let's go. I get over there, I have to laugh. I'm introduced to my counselor. Hey, Bill Bennett. I'm like, I look at him, I'm shit. Is your sons Billy and Bobby? Yep. His sons knew me. They were running mates on the streets. So he knew a lot of my story. I went in there, continued to get involved in AA. We had a clubhouse that was just about 5 blocks away from my halfway house, and I'd be down there all the time going to meetings, the activities, whatnot. At the end of my treatment there at the halfway house, I got one of the best offhanded compliments, and I'll never forget it. Well, Bob, it's the best $20 I ever lost. You know, he knew my stories. He knew where I came from. He knew the way I lived, and he thoroughly believed when I walked in I would not make it out of there successfully. So he lost $20, but I got a hell of a compliment. Spent my first year of sobriety up in Joliet, Illinois. I had the opportunity this Saturday to speak over at Simmering, and I was talking about the things outside of AA that are not AA necessarily, but it's part of this community. The clubhouse that I got sober at, we had a full kitchen. We had breakfast every Saturday and Sunday morning. I ended up getting involved in cooking breakfast there for a little over a year. We had steak fries and fish fries and everything else throughout the year. I was always going to those events. We had a room off to the side in the clubhouse where people would go and just play cards. I can't tell you how many nights I sat after the meetings for 2, 3, 4 hours just playing cards. I'm grateful for that social side of Alcoholics Anonymous because that kept my mind busy, and I needed that when I first came around. Ended up, like I said, got real involved. Spent a little. I was still fighting this whole God thing. When it comes to 1, 2, 3, I knew I was a drunk, dope, fiend, thief. I knew that when I read that book in jail, and I just didn't give a shit. You know, something I got out and started hitting this treatment, and it started changing a little bit. Maybe I do want to try this stuff. All 2 and 3 though was the hardest things for me ever. One, admitting there's anything stronger than me. In my mind, the only thing stronger than me ever was the guy that was bigger than me or had a bigger gun than me. That was it. You know, so for me to believe in anything more powerful than me, it was impossible at the time when I first walked in the door. After I kept coming around, though, I kept hearing people talk about how their life has changed, how things are getting better. My first higher power was a group, and that's it. I still looked at everything from a completely physical view. If everyone in the room stood up and pinned me to the floor, I'd be stuck. That I can relate to. That is a power stronger than me. As I continued to go to meetings, the people I looked up to the most all kept talking about this God. You know, about their relationship with a God, with a higher power. Old Farmer John, he was the one that finally got me through third step. My sponsor said, we're going out to, it was out in Kankakee. We're going to go to a meeting down there. Old Farmer John leads it every Sunday morning. It's a third step meeting. We're going there. Okay. And we did it. We had a third step meeting. At the end of the meeting, he says, I'm going to have another meeting, but it's going to be in this room over here. It is not an AA meeting. This is a Bible meeting. Anybody who'd like to join, come on in. I was able to go over there, and that's where I really made a third step decision. I'm grateful for that man and just the way he presented things. I'm grateful for the people in my original group, because that was the biggest hurdle for me, was to admit anything was stronger than me. Then I moved down here. Like I say, I'm very prideful. I had to prove to myself that I could stay sober in my hometown. Because if I couldn't stay sober there, I didn't stand a chance anywhere else. So I spent a little over a first year of sobriety there. My plan was to move to Florida. I end up in Branson, Missouri. Working for a guy in Cicero, which is south of Chicago, just slightly south of Chicago, and he keeps talking about this town, Branson, and it's a boom town, and blah, blah. I'm like, fine, I'll go there for a little bit. Turning my will and my life over to the care of God, as I understand Him, comes through a lot of other people. That's how I had to learn it. He kept talking about, I respected this man. He had a belief in a God, just a good guy. And he kept talking about Branson. I want to go to Florida because they wear less clothes in Florida, especially when you go to the beach. Fine, I'll go to Branson. I have to petition the court to be able to move down here because I'm on probation and everything. And I go in there, and the judge, he's back there behind us saying, okay, Mr. Johnson, who do you know in Branson? Nobody. Okay, do you have a job lined up down there? No, sir, but it's a boom town right now. There's tons of construction. He shakes his head. He's like, do you have any money? I got a 76 Ford Granada. I got a 76 Ford Granada that's running in great shape. I got about $400, so he just shakes his head. He says, I don't know why I'm doing this, but go. You know, that's another God moment. I get down here. Me and my buddy are driving around. He buys and sells antiques, so we're out in Rockaway Beach and meet some lady that has a little shop and a hotel, and we're talking to her, and oh yeah, I'm moving down here. Another God thing. Oh, I got a place for rent right here in back, blah, 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 blah. Tells me the price. I'm like, oh, you're nuts. I'll get back to you. Got the newspaper that night. Next day I went back and took it. Wasn't looking for a place to live. It was provided. I spent the first few days in Branson just rolling around, figuring out where everything is. Found my AA meetings as soon as I got to town. Shepard of the Hills group was one of the first groups I ever met, back when it was over at Shepard of the Hills Church, Catholic Church. Came home one evening. Oh, Miss Keithley's outside. She said, "Hey, Bob, so-and-so was looking for you. Says something about work." I'm like, "Who?" "Oh, right up the hill. He lives right up the hill here, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "I don't know anybody. I haven't talked to anybody about work." I walk up to this guy's house. "Oh, you're the trucker." "Nope, I'm the carpenter." "Oh, good. I need one of those too." I'm not looking for work. God is providing everything. Turning my will and my life over to the care of God comes in so many different ways. It's not just, I don't have to stress on it so much. Okay, well, I don't know what the hell you got planned for today, but let's go. It's usually when it works out best for me. Ended up getting very involved in AA down here. I'm going to jump through a bunch because now it's... Met a gal down here, ended up getting married. I had 2 kids just before I got sober and just after I got sober with a gal up in Illinois. Our relationship didn't work out, so those are my 2 sons. While I was down here, met another gal. We ended up married. We moved to Florida, got married. I was married to her for 27 years. We have 2 daughters together. In that time span, when I read in here, the promises, they paled in comparison to what my life was. I was freaking on. My life was better than I could ever imagine, and still boggles my mind today. Why the hell do I get such a cool freaking life? You know, married to a beautiful woman. I got 2 wonderful daughters. I got custody of my oldest son. My other son's finally talking to me again. You know, I'm able to talk to my ex. You know, the boy's mom. Not for long, but I can talk. I had a paint company up in Ohio, was going great. When Katrina hit, I ended up getting involved in disaster response work. I'm going all over the country helping people rebuild their houses, working with volunteers from all over the country doing this. And I still get shaped. So it was amazing. I had a life that was nothing but service to others. And I absolutely loved what I did, how I did it, the people that surrounded me. So the promises in here, they're wonderful. And when I first walked in the door, they made no freaking sense at all. Financial security, biggest one. Understand serenity, and no peace. Yeah, understand the word serenity and no peace. That's a huge one for me. I never thought that would happen when I walked in the door. What the hell's peace? You know, piece of pie? So I'm living this great life, and now's where I get into the cautionary tale. When this book says we have a daily reprieve contingent upon our spiritual maintenance, they ain't lying. It's flat truth. I hate to say it's a hard frickin' truth to learn too. Was sitting here before the meeting and trying to go back. I don't remember dates real well, but it would have been 17. In 17, my job doing disaster response came to an end. Nothing because of me. The people that supported us was going down. There wasn't near as many tornadoes and hurricanes right at that point in time. The number of volunteers had kept going down, so financially our organization I worked for had to close that section of their ministry. That was tough. You know, it's like I didn't picture anything else in life. I was going to be doing that till I died. That's just what it was. This is where a lot of resentment starts building up. I didn't realize till I got back here and started putting shit on paper how pissed off I was at that organization for closing down the domestic response. My wife and I at the time, we talked about what the heck's next, what are we going to do, this, that, and the other. And we decided right out of the gate, this isn't a fast decision. It's not something we can make right now. Let's take a month, and each of us need to be in prayer. What are we going to do? How are we going to do things? This, that, and the other. We ended up out in West Virginia on the Elk River. And we got to canoe down it one day, and that's, that was our date that we were going to set what we're going to do next, make our decisions. So her and I are alone out there, and we decided we're going to continue on in missions, just not sure what it's going to look like, because I still had people that wanted to support me to be able to do that. She said she wanted to do that. I know I wanted to. This is where them resentments can come in and start kicking ass. We were down in, we had one more trip down to Mississippi. Anyways, we're down there, and we ended up getting in an argument, and the words that crushed me that day, that started the frickin' resentment, was, I don't want to do missions with you anymore, is what she said to me. And it crushed me. I didn't know anything else. I threw up my hands. I didn't do what this book frickin' told me to do. I quit praying. I quit talking to God because I was pissed. I want to be doing that missions. My life is about serving others. I can't do this. In the meantime, my son calls, said, hey, Dad, would you open the business up, put us to work? Sure, why not? So we come back, we're living in Branson. My kids have moved down here. We started up the company. That's something, how important AA has always been in my life. When I started the painting business back up in Ohio, it was HOW Painting. And it was great because when I go out in the community to talk about HOW, how it works, okay, your name's Bob Johnson. What's HOW? 3 principles that if I can keep up front, I'm guaranteed to succeed. Honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. If I do that, I know this business is going to succeed, and so am I. So, made a great icebreaker, and then when you're in construction, there's a bunch of us that get drunk and go to meetings and then never go back to meetings, but they realize, oh, how it works? Yep. Which brought up a lot of good conversations throughout the years. A lot of good opportunities throughout the years. Anyways, bring it back. These resentments start eating at me. My kids come down here. They start working for us. Me and my great plans, we're going to have at least one day a month, we're going to go out and do a community service project. I don't care what it is, but we're going to pay one paid day a month. We're going to go do. That fell by the wayside quick because I started seeing the dollar signs. As things went on and on and on, I started taking on all the responsibility. I'm running this freaking business. I got 2 of my kids. I had 3 of my kids. One of them, Missouri is not it for him. He's back in Oregon. He loves it out there. A lot bigger city, and he's doing a lot better out there, so I'm excited for him. My other 2 kids are working for me. My son with his wife and 4 children. My daughter with her leech boyfriends and their kids. Ask me how I feel about her boyfriends. So I'm starting to take all this on. I got to pay for my home. I'm paying for my kids' homes. I'm trying to support 3 frickin' households, and this sucks, and I'm getting all wrapped up in this. And I got these resentments because I should still be out serving others. This is not where I'm supposed to be, and I knew it. I start letting that obsession kick in, that restless, irritable discontent that Doc talks about. So true. That's where I was. That's where I was living for quite a while. And I started listening to other people outside the program. I shared a lot. I have a family friend. She was a substance abuse counselor. And her and I'd get in arguments because she'd try and convince me that after people are sober for a long time, they can go out and drink social. And I would argue, you are so full of shit. Well, I'm twisted up now. She's still talking to my wife about this. Maybe I can. I got a neighbor down the street. Great guy. One of them freaking normal people. He's got a lot of health issues like I have. He talks about how he has a beer or two every once in a while and he gets a great night's sleep. A great night's sleep, I grabbed onto that. I would love that. I haven't been able to sleep restfully in freaking months, years now, because I'm all twisted up trying to take care of business, do this, that, and the other. I'm not praying, I'm not going to meetings, I'm not doing this. I went back out drinking. I love talking about Doc's opinion because it's all right there for me. You know, that first drink or drug, when I take that in, I trigger that allergy, I'm screwed. So my first night drinking, I just went and got two shooters at the store, came home, put one in the sock drawer and went out to the recliner, had that first one. It's like, everybody knows that feeling. Man, it felt good. About 15, 20 minutes later, I'm back in the room, had the other one. That's all I had that night. That went on that way for a few weeks. A couple of nights a week, I'll only have 2 shots. Then it was 3 shots. And then it continued. When I first came back around, you guys, some of y'all that had known me from then, when I got... Let me keep right where I'm at. So I take them couple of shots. It continues to get worse and worse and worse. In Doc's opinion, he's talking about that allergy. Once I take that first drink, I trigger that allergy. I was 8 months sober, and I'm down at Holiday Island at the detox center down there, presenting the cycle of addiction out of the book, and it hit me. My sober mind, I was going to have 1 shot that night. That's all I was going to have. Once I had that one, I had to have the second one I had in the house. I didn't realize that allergy hit with that first drink until I was like 8 months sober. And I'd already taught a class or 2 and all this other shit till I'm up there telling these people, do. I was like, holy crap. So for me, there's so much truth in this book, and Doc's opinion is just amazing to me. That spree got ugly. Throughout all this time, my marriage is getting worse. We're just quiet. We're not talking to each other. We're just freaking roommates. Told you my sobriety date's February 16th. February 14th, 15th, and 16th. February 15th was... for me, the day of hell. Give me a second here. February 14th, my head's so fucking twisted. I'd been talking. There'd been times I'd be driving down the road just wishing I'd get hit by a freaking truck head on so I could be done. That's where it started out. By the 14th, it was. I'm just gonna go to the room and I got bottles of pills. I'll end it. Grabbed the wife, brought her out to the garage and just handed her all these pills. And here, you gotta hold these or I'm gonna take every frickin' one of them. Next morning, I didn't sleep much that night. It was ugly. Next morning, was everything. I had to get out of the house, went out to the garage, started drinking out there because like every good alcoholic, I have shit heading everywhere. So I get my stuff out in the garage. I'm drinking away out there. Everything I can do not to walk back into the house. It took every ounce of energy I had not to go into the house to grab my gun. Got the kids off to job sites. And then I just disappeared. Called my kids that afternoon, says, I'm going to detox. I got to do something. That's it. I'm either going to be dead in the morning or I'm going to be in detox. It's one of the two, so I'm going to try for this detox thing. Couldn't call the wife. So ask my kids. I hate that I put that responsibility on my kids, but it's an amends I made. End up over there at that detox. They didn't have a big book down there. An alcohol and drug treatment center without a big book. That was weird. Got one from one of the counselors that was his personal book. So I was able to read some of that. Spent a few days there. Just about 10 days there. Just first 3 days were sleeping. Sleeping, puking, shitting, all that fun stuff. When I got out, I was planning on the way down there was hard too. That's this community, the recovery community, AA, NA, all these recovery places that I'm involved with over the years. The day I'm going to detox, I made the phone calls and said, hey, I'm heading to detox. And every one of them, Bob, let us help you. No, I'm going to drive myself. Because I'm still in charge, you know. Thank God I made it down there. On the way down there, I was still in the bad shape. It's I'm either going to be dead or in detox. And on the way down there, y'all know these roads. There's quite a few spots. One quick left turn, it's all done. And that's where my head was as I'm driving down there, finishing off that 5th on the way in. Picked up the phone, called a friend of mine, called a female friend that likes to talk, and gave her the biggest blessing she ever had. Is, I just need you to talk. I don't care what you talk about. She kept talking until I pulled into that parking lot. Thank God I made it there. When I got out of there I went in there, stayed there for about 10 days. When I came back, I had the recovery communities in this community are so amazing. And I'll just say names. I know the staff over at CORE. I know the staff at Standing by the Door. I'm friends with all of them. CORE had a bed set up for me and waiting. Standing by the Door had a bed waiting for me because I knew I couldn't go home. It was just so fucked up there. You know, I was so fucked up. To go back there wasn't going to be good. It's so comforting to know that now, that people had a bed waiting for me. I had personal friends, at least one in this room, that said, I got a place for you. You know, and that's it. So it still warms my heart to know that this whole AA community and recovery community is not just it's not just talk. You know, we need something. It's going to be there. I ended up going. I was going to go into Standing by the Door, but I got this little thing called pride. They said I couldn't drive for 30 days. I got a nice truck. I got to drive. I got my kids. I got to run the business. I got to do this. I got to do. As y'all see, I got Bubba. I can't have him in the trade. Oh hell no! I can't go in. You know, and that's it. I didn't go in. Thank God I had so many people, though. People started pounding me. Some pounded, some suggested. I'm good with both. I checked into a weekly stay for 2 weeks. For that 2 weeks, I was either there sleeping, I was either in that hotel room sleeping, showering, or writing a 4-step. Or I was at meetings. I was between every meeting in town, down at the Standing by the Door Center. I'm going to all these different classes. I knew I had to be in safe communities, and I stayed in those safe communities, got that 4th-step written, and got that 5th step done. And I started to look at things differently. What was my part? I hate that the 4th-step tells me I have to look at all my part, but I was so grateful for that because I did that initial 4th-step walking in the door, and it started to change. I could start to talk to people again. You know, when I say I love this program, I'll never be able to express how much I truly do. You know, it saved my life when I was 24, saved my life again 3 years ago. You know, and if it wouldn't have been for this, I know that I'd be dead today. You know, that was my full intention. And I still have, so original sobriety date when I was 24, talking to people that knew me back then, there were so many people that lost money on me. Most people didn't believe I'd make it to 18. I made it to 18, people lost money. Then they said, okay, by 21, he's going to be shot. He's either going to be shot or in prison. There's no doubt. I hit 21. lot more people lost a lot more money. You know, I'm so grateful for God in this program. I know there's times where it's hard to sit down and start doing this shit. But when I finally quit playing in my head, you know, the whole God thing, that's it. I'm all playing in my head, doing this, that, and the other. If I read these, now when I sit here and read 1, 2, and 3, okay, 1, yeah, there's a freaking problem. Life sucks. 2, well, these knuckleheads figured out something. They're living better than I am, so, okay. 3, I should probably do what they say. They're telling me do the damn 4-step. For me, and that's when I get to go to talk to different treatment centers in this, I'm really big on getting that 4-step out, because I need to look at what were my parts, what are the thoughts that I had before I did all this stupid shit. What's making me so pissed off? Why am I pissed off at my ex? You know, okay, so she doesn't want to do missions. I can still do them. I didn't think that way at that time. You know, my kids, anybody with kids knows they piss you off sometimes because they ain't doing what I want them to do. Damn, they're human, they have thoughts. You know, I have so much about me that's still selfish to the core, and I'm grateful for this book, because when I sit down, I wish I could tell you I sit down every night and review everything. But in the mornings when I'm sitting there in my quiet time with God, it's like, damn, yeah, I was kind of a dick yesterday, wasn't I? Shit. Did I do anything I have to? Do I have to apologize for that? Do I have to make it? Shit. You know, a lot of things I may not want to do, but I know when I do them, it makes life so much freaking easier. So, and we're right about the top of the hour, so y'all, love you. She's got that.